Hey everyone, in this recorded chess game I'll be analyzing my decisions from the opening to the end game. This is a game which I played with some Indian guy, so I'll be highlighting the key turning points, tactical opportunities and any mistake that influenced my results. So the goal of this video is to understand not just what I played, but why it worked out. So let's first proceed quickly to open my account. Then I proceed to my collections. It's opening in a while. Yeah, there it is. So I check it. So as you can see, it's some Indian guy. So let me first click the board so that I can analyze so much well. So my opponent, who plays with white, now moves the knight to f3, and then I respond with my pawn to d5 to immediately contest for the center. White placed pawn to g3. I develop my knight to f6, now building the control and preparing my setup. White moves bishop to g2, and I bring out my knight to c6 to put more pressure in the center. White castles the king side, and I develop my bishop to g4, pinning the knight and creating tension so much early. White pushes pawn to h3, and then I capture the knight with my bishop, which now takes the f3 position to initiate imbalance so much early in the game. White recaptures it with his bishop, which now takes the f3 position. I push the pawn to e5, now I'm taking control of the center. White plays rook to e1. I push my pawn to e4, gaining space and pushing my opponent back. White moves bishop to g4, and I capture it with my knight now, which occupies the g4 position. White captures it back with his pawn now, which takes the g4 position. As you can see, now the king side is opening and I'm preparing to exploit it. So I continue with my bishop to d6. White pushes pawn to f4. So I capture, my pawn now takes the f3 position, now breaking the pawn structure and exposing my opponent's weaknesses. White captures it, so his pawn takes the f3 position, and I come respond with bishop to e7, now developing and preparing to castle. White plays pawn to f4, then I castle my king side, so my king is safe. Now I can attack so much freely. White moves king to g2, and I play bishop to c5, improving my position and activating my pieces. White pushes pawn to g5, and I bring my rook to e8, now to centralize and preparing to pressurize my opponent. White captures my rook, now his rook takes the e8, and then I recapture it with my queen, which now takes the e8 position to maintain the control. White now develops the knight to c3. I reposition my queen to e7, preparing for the attack. White captures, so his knight takes the d5 position. I respond with queen to d7 to stay coordinated in the game. White plays pawn to c3, and I bring my rook back to e8, lining up to pressure again. White plays pawn to c4, and I move my queen to e6. So my pieces, as you can see, are so much active. Actually, all are fully active. White captures, so his knight takes the c7 position. Now this is at the turning point. I play queen to e1. Now the king is in serious danger. White moves the queen to c2, and then I strike with rook to e2 check, now forcing the king out into the open. White moves the king now to h3, and then I continue with my queen to h1, check, so the attack is now unstoppable. White moves the king to g4. There it goes, I put my pawn to h5 check, cutting off escape squares. White moves the king to f5, and now the final move, my knight to e7 checkmate. And that's how I finished the game with my coordinated attack, forced moves, and a clean checkmate. Guys, thank you for watching.